Last week, we shared an article about high-impact activity and questioning whether or not high-impact exercise was bad for your joints or potentially good for your joints. I'm sure that when we kind of wrote the headline that high-impact activity could be actually good for your joints, probably raised some eyebrows. So I just wanted to kind of quickly do a couple demonstrations and talk a little bit about how high-impact activity actually could be healthy and good for our joints rather than bad for them. So first of all, I think the hard thing for me is defining what exactly do we mean by high impact. Is a plyometric exercise simply high impact no matter how it's done? Or is there a way of doing it that actually helps to reduce the impact? My suggestion would be that there is a good way or a proper way of doing high-impact exercises, such as plyometrics, even things like running, that if you use your body well, you're actually training your body how to disperse the impact in a way that's going to help reduce the potential for it to be damaging to your joints. So a quick little demonstration will show you that, a plyometric exercise or a jumping exercise doesn't necessarily mean high impact depending on how it's done. So I'm going to jump on the plyometric box, and the first time I do it, you're going to see it's clearly a high impact activity because you'll be able to hear it and see it. All right, so you can see as I did that, you heard me land on that box, and it was a very hard, kind of loud, jolting sound. Now, in that situation, was there impact on my joints? Probably, yes. Okay. Now, I'm going to do the same exercise, and this time, I'm going to kind of use all of the muscles around my knees, hips, and even ankles to help to disperse that impact, therefore softening the impact. All right, so you can see there, you could barely hear me landing on the box. So the question is, was that second one a high impact activity? Or was I able to use my body to help to reduce the actual impact force? If we agree that the second time around was not really creating a lot of impact in my joints because of the way I did it, then I would simply point out that training your body to be able to disperse impact in certain exercises would help to make it a healthy exercise. Simply because if you're going to do an activity such as skiing or running, or if you had to jump out of a window to get out of a burning house, your body's ability to absorb the impact will have been trained, meaning that your body will be accustomed to that activity. But if you don't train that activity and you allow the muscles around those joints to get stiff or weak, your ability to absorb the impact is affected negatively, meaning that impact is likely going to be a much higher impact and maybe negatively affect those joints. So another example of a high impact activity is running. Running oftentimes gets labeled into a high impact activity, and I hear a lot about people being told that running's not good for your joints. You hear that, you've heard that constantly over the years, and now there's some more research that's suggesting that running may not actually be bad for your joints. It may not actually cause osteoarthritis. So how can running be a non-impact or high-impact activity? Well, again, I think it comes down to the method, how you do it, right? So first of all, I'm going to demonstrate a common running form, which is overstriding. When I overstride, my foot will land out in front of my center of mass, my pelvis being my center of mass. What happens when you land with your foot out in front of you, most of the time, that results in a heel strike. Now, landing on the heel is not a very effective way of absorbing impact. When I demonstrate this with some of my clients, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll do the jump rope test, which means I'll have them imagine you have a jump rope, and I'll say, okay, let me see how you would jump rope. And most people that I ask to do that will kind of do kind of the obvious. And you'll notice that as I'm doing that, I'm on the balls of my feet, and I have a nice springy kind of rebound off the ground. If I have them then do that same jump rope, but ask them to do it on their heels, it looks and feels very different. So to demonstrate, and again, I don't know if you can hear my feet hitting the ground, but I can certainly feel my heels hitting the ground with a lot more force or impact. So if we run in a certain way, we can theoretically reduce that impact stress. So again, to demonstrate, I will run with an overstriding gait, landing on my heels, and hopefully you'll be able to kind of see the difference in the impact versus when I change my stride and land more on the balls of my feet. if I land with my feet more directly underneath me, therefore allowing me to land more on the balls of my feet, that affords me the use of the arch of my foot, the ankles, through the calf and Achilles tendon, as well as my knees to help to reduce that impact force, kind of like when we did the jump rope test. So again, I'm going to run again this time using a shorter stride, laying with my foot underneath me, hopefully be able to see the difference in the amount of impact as I land on the ground. It's sort of a good demonstration so you can see it's not necessarily to say that one exercise is just inherently bad, that by doing this exercise it's going to cause a lot of impact in the joint. My kind of mantra is there's no such thing as bad exercise. There are only good exercises done badly. If you do an exercise properly, you can reduce the impact stress, making it a healthy exercise, helping to strengthen our bodies, muscles, tendons, joints, maybe even ligaments. But doing it poorly, yes, can increase the impact. So rather than kind of clumping certain exercises as bad because of the potential impact, we should be looking at those exercises and saying, if it does have the potential to have high impact, is there a way of doing the exercise that we can help to reduce the impact, therefore, fortifying the joint to be able to handle impact if and when necessary.